Hello, hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? Can you hear? Everything working? Are we good to go? We got a few minutes before we're going to get started on this character ranking. So just hit me up with the comments. Let me know you can see, you can hear. Everything's good to go. And we will get this party started very shortly. How's everyone doing out there this glorious Saturday morning? Good, I hope. As you can see, I got my characters all set up. They are color coordinated by what they are. Sure you can kind of figure it out, but I will go over it in a minute. Yes, can see and hear me. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about this character ranking. Honestly, the originals is... I've only seen the first season, but it is one of my absolute favorite shows. I hope it continues to be. I hope the pace continues. I hope the story arcs continue to be as intriguing and as just fun as they are now. But it's a really good show. It's a really good show, and I love it so much. Complimentary nose scratch before we get going. Got me some cold brew. I'm a little hyped. And yeah, we'll be getting going in about 4 minutes. I said it would not start until 10:45, so I will not officially start until 10:45. So exciting. I hope I got all the characters you want to see. I do know there was some people that wanted some of the lesser integral characters that really didn't do much or say much. I didn't really put them on here because I really have no way to judge them. I actually have one person on here I shouldn't even have on here. And you'll know it whenever I get to her, because I don't even know who this lady is for the most part. But what she was going to do makes me put her in a pretty low position. So that's fine. Dun 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 dun, gonna get started soon. I also, oh wait, let me, gonna show this off before we get going. Look at this beautiful piece of art. This wood burning, Elijah Michelson. Got this from one of my patrons who was also a huge fan of the originals, and I consider a close and dear friend. So much. I keep it on my bookshelf behind me at all times. It'll get even better. That's what I want to hear. Oh my God, I cannot imagine it getting better than it already is. It is such a fun show. My God, the characters, the drama, the action, the interweaving of stories and plots and mythology. So good. And I'm so glad it's in New Orleans. I've been to New Orleans countless times. I actually went there for Mardi Gras for the first time when I was 16 or 17. It was my first time going to Mardi Gras. I was there for a week with a bunch of guys that were in college and kind of on my own. And holy smokes, what a time. What a time. Kind of ties into the originals a little bit, kind of, because I did meet this I met this Haitian girl who was absolutely beautiful, and she was into some dark magics. Like she was into the voodoo and the Santeria, and it was a crazy week. I have never forgotten, and I've been back many times. More as a family man though than a partier. Though I did go back to Mardi Gras, I think 2 more times as a single man who was just there to have fun. But all the times I've been there in the last 10-15 years, it's been as a family man, wife, kid. It's a whole different vibe when you go to New Orleans as just a family kind of touristy thing. But man, my younger years, let me tell you, it was crazy. It was crazy. All right, we got 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. We will get this party started. Got 6 people here. You know what? Fine by me, because these are 6 people that love the originals. And feel free to ask questions, to comment, to talk. Like, We're gonna get into it. I will be on as long as people are wanting to talk about the originals. I have some filming to do from Patreon, but you know what? I have all day today. I have half a day tomorrow. I only really need to get 4 reactions done, though I do hope to get a few extras done just to throw them in there because that's just how I roll. But yeah, we have plenty of time this morning to talk. All right, folks, it is 10:45 Central Standard Time. Let's get this show on the road. So we are here to rank characters in the Vampire Diaries universe. The show is the originals. All right, so let's go over my color coordination real quick. So yellow is human. Green is witches, the witches. White is werewolf, and red is vampire. Now you will notice I have them grouped together except for the bottom line. The bottom line is kind of the main cast, and we're going to do them last, but we're going to go through and just do things in the order they are. So let's get into it. All right, first of all, we have Eve, the human who could be a werewolf but who has never killed. To be honest, I find the actress who plays Eve absolutely terrible. I don't know what it is about her, but I do not like how she acts. I do not like her accent. I do not like anything about this character. I'm a little biased. I don't like her. Now, is not liking her enough to put her at D tier? No, it is not. She was a fine character for what she was, but she's going to C. And you can argue that, but I don't think you have much of an argument. Tell me if you think she's a good actress, because I think she's a horrible actress. And that accent, that can't be her real accent because it's terrible. I live in the South. I don't know what accent she was doing, but that ain't it. That ain't it. All right. Eve was boring. She was boring, but it's really just, I do not think she was a good actress. Like every time she was on screen and would say or do anything, it took me out of the reality of the show. Because usually I'm watching these shows and I'm in it, man. I am bought in. I am hook, line, and sinker. I am immersed in the universe they are creating. Like I am in it. I buy it and let's go. She took me out of it. Didn't like that. Yes. So I believe that is Loki. I 100% agree. What her character did was very helpful to Haley, and she was a friend to Haley. And what happened to Eve was kind of sad. And I do think if they would have had a actress I liked, she would have been much higher on this ranking. But really, the fault is in the actress. I didn't like her. I didn't buy what she was throwing down, and it just took me out of it. I am glad she was killed off too. So we're on the same page here. Now, this next one is a witch. What is her name? I cannot remember her name. I do remember most of these people's names, though, for the first time ever. So this witchy here, the red-headed witch, who was, I believe she was killed when they were trying to do the harvest, but then came back, if I remember correctly. She's fine. I mean, I don't know her name, so she can't be that fine. But she was a fine character for what she is. Bastiana. Am I saying that right? Bastiana. All right. She was a fine witch doing what witches do, but I could care less about this character, to be honest. So she's a C tier too. I think you could have replaced her with any other witch. I wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have cared. So it is what it is. Let me move some of these up a little because I want to do some of these. Let me do this one next. All right. Yes, she was one that hexed Karen with that stinking little, here, take this. I'm going to rub your hand and you're going to be cursed and go crazy. And the craziness won't even be broken by death because this is a deep running curse that will go all the way into after death. And it's a damn shame. She's a bitch. All right. But to be honest, she is a witch. Most of the witches and warlocks, or whatever you want to call them, they're really kind of crappy people for the most part. All right, now we're going to go to one that shouldn't even be on the tier list. Who is this girl? Who is this? Oh, so one of them hexed the nephew, one hex. Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. I do know when. I don't remember. I don't know. All right. Yeah, I don't know. She did text Karen. All right, yeah, because I remember the scene and I thought it was her where she like took his hand and did the little rub, which is where he got the mark. But it all gets muddled in this brain because I partied too hard as a kid. The brain doesn't work as good as it did. All right, so next witch is this lady in white. Who is this? I only put her on here because she was in the same picture as Monique, and we will get to Monique. She was in the same picture as Monique. I know she's one of the Harvest girls that came back. I don't know her name though. Doesn't really matter though, because you know what? She was willing to kill a baby. She was willing to kill a baby, and I know nothing about her other than she was also kind of a bitch to Davina. So you know what? You're D tier, whoever you are. Don't even know who you are, but you're D tier, baby. You tried to kill a baby as a sacrifice. You are mean to my girl, Davina, and I don't know who you are. That's a solid D tier. You're only in this because you shared a picture with Monique. We're gonna talk about Monique. Don't you worry. Don't you worry about Monique. All right, next we have Sabine. But she was actually possessed by Celeste. So I guess I'll call her Celeste because we only know her as Celeste. Celeste, you evil witch, you. So Celeste can body hop, right? So she hops from body to body. She ain't gonna die because she's cool like that. But she broke my man Elijah's heart. She was murdered. It was kind of Klaus's fault. And Elijah mourned her. He mourned her loss. He was so sad he could not save the woman he loved, and it hurt him, and he carried that forever, only to find out she's been alive the whole time, body hopping, using information she had on Elijah against Elijah. She's terrible, but she's a great character. She's a great character. She's better than these others we have up on the board. She was a really good character. I was intrigued by what was going on with her. I did not know she was Celeste until the big reveal, and it really shook me. Like, holy, it's Celeste. It's Elijah's love. It's great. She's a great character. B or A? Like B or A? Like, I feel her loss in the show. I do miss her character. But is she A tier? I don't think she's A tier. I think she's a B tier. She's a solid, good character. They wrapped up her little story, and I'm fine where it ended. I really don't care if she comes back because I think she served her purpose, and it was fantastic. So we will leave her there as B tier. Then we go to Genevieve, I don't know how you say her name. Genevieve, I think. Genevieve, the witch who was killed back in the day by Rebecca. They were both working in the same sanitarium for people dying of tuberculosis, I think. And they partied together, they had fun together, but she was just being used to help get Michael here so he could run Klaus out of town, and Rebecca and Marcel can be together forever in happiness and love. So delusional. How did they ever think bringing Michael to New Orleans would work out in any way they had planned? Michael is a wild card. He is a violent, psychotic wild card. He's going to burn it all down to get what he wants. The Spanish flu. Okay, the Spanish flu. I knew it was something bad that was killing people. And man, she was used. She was abused. She used the power of the Harvest Girls to come back and then went about manipulating Klaus. The whole time you think Klaus is manipulating her. The rope-a-dope, son. She was manipulating him, and she did it beautifully. She did it beautifully. My goodness, it was so good. But in the end, she got what she deserved. Yes. So Klaus daggering Rebecca constantly is low down dirty. It is because he is afraid of being left, afraid of being alone. He would rather have Rebecca daggered in a coffin with him than living her life without him. So anytime he feels he's going to be left, he's going to be abandoned, he's going to be by himself, he daggers Rebecca constantly. And I get her frustration. I get it. But you and Marcel should have left the city and then had Michael come. You and Marcel shouldn't have been in the city when Michael got there. Because if you're in the city, you are in the zone of Michael's wrath. And that is a dangerous place to be, as we've seen. I mean, he ran everybody out of the city. They thought Marcel was dead. I mean, it was a hot mess when Michael showed up. And that's what Michael does. And yes, Klaus needs some therapy. Klaus needs lots and lots of therapy. Cammy was kind of helping with that for a little bit. But back to Guinevere, I liked her character. I really did. The way she manipulated Klaus and the rope-a-dope with the thought dead werewolf tribe or clan, whatever it's called, that was beautiful. She's a solid B character. She's not A tier, but she's a solid B. We're getting to the next character. Thought the session. Yeah. The whole bloodbath, son. That whole family therapy session would be rough. They would definitely kill the therapist. They would end up, I'll tell you what would happen. They would sort out all their problems on the surface, but nothing deep down. Then they would all get mad, blame it on the therapist because family always and forever, and they'd kill the therapist and they'd bond over that for about a week. And then they'd go back to their usual shenanigan bullshit because that's how they roll. Yeah, she was robbed of a happy life. She really was a victim of circumstance. But once she came back, you're double crossing Klaus. That only ends in one way. That ends in your death. There's no way around that. Like, that was your choice there. Like, you're done for. You're double crossing Klaus. You are basically giving up Haley to be murdered and her baby sacrificed. That's going to get Elijah on your ass. That's going to get Rebecca on your ass. That's even going to get Marcel probably on your ass. I mean, you crossed a line when you came back and you paid the price. Just how it works. That's just how it works. Okay, next. Sophie Devereaux, I don't know how to say their damn names. Sophie, you are trash. You're banging Marcel. You don't believe in all the witchy mumbo jumbo that you've been raised in and you're part of. So you use Marcel to break up the harvest. And then when your sister gives her life to try to make things right, you become the crusader of the witch's cause and the crusader of doing what's right when everything's your fault. Everything's your fault. It's all your fault. All right, let me read some comments real quick. Never go into Klaus, you won't survive. Never. Unless you're Elijah, maybe. I love my man, Elijah. She did seem like a sweet person. Yes, she did. And I guarantee if she wouldn't have been murdered by Rebecca back in the day, she would have been a great friend to Rebecca and everyone else. She came back a little pissy, and I get it. She was trying to save her own life. She had to do what the ancestors wanted. She was in a hard spot, but she still chose to go against Klaus, which is something you're not going to win. Yes, Sophie started the whole thing Well, I don't blame her for banging Marcel either. Marcel is a specimen, okay? Like, I say that as a happily married straight man, but Marcel is a looker, got a killer bod, and let's be honest, personality wise, like, I want to be his bro. I would hang out with Marcel. He seems like a cool dude. He seems like an honorable dude, but we'll get to Marcel when we get to Marcel. As you can see, I'm a Marcel fan. I am a Marcel fan. But we're talking about Sophie right now. Sophie, the cause of all the troubles of the witches. She sucks. Don't like her. Glad she's dead. Glad she was murdered by her own niece. Serves you right. You're D tier, baby. You're D tier, Sophie. Glad you're dead. Don't miss you. Hope you are being tortured by the ancestors now in the afterlife for what you did. All right. You deserve it. You deserve everything you get. Everything you get is deserved. Yeah, Sophie caused so much just getting murdered by her niece, and it was justice. All right, it was justice because her niece's mom is dead because of Sophie. Sophie's sister is dead because of Sophie's actions. Which what I don't get is Sophie is living that life. She knows there's vampires and werewolves and magic and witches, yet she didn't believe. Like, I don't really believe in a lot of things, but I'll tell you what, if I knew for a fact there were vampires and werewolves and real magic, like, I would believe a lot. I would believe a whole lot. But she knew all of this and still kind of turned her nose up at the whole thing. Oh, the harvest, they're just going to murder. Like, have some faith in your witches. Have some faith in your coven. Have some faith in your community. But no, you had no faith, which led to the destruction of the witch's power and to the whole mess that followed. Sophie, you are the harbinger of death and destruction. May you burn in hell in the afterlife in the torment of the ancestors. Moving on. F her. Oh, now we're getting to a good man. Papa Toomby? Papa Toomby? Is that his name? Is it Papa Toomby? I don't remember. Let me see if I got a little cheat sheet up here. Let's see if he's on here. Papa Tundi. Yeah, Papa Tundi. The elders should have, well, but the elders couldn't be transparent because it was about the faith of the harvest girls. The harvest girls had to have faith in the witches. I think if they knew they were coming back, it would have defeated the purpose of the sacrifice. It is a true sacrifice if you don't know you're coming back. Like, you're like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna be part of this ritual. Of course, they didn't know they were gonna be sacrificed, but I don't know. It's complicated. It's witchy. It's witchy shit. I don't know how it works, but either way, I don't like Sophie. Papa Tundi. Now that is a character I want back. All right, he was awesome. His presence, his look, his demeanor, his essence, everything about Papa Tundi, I loved. I want his pain dagger. I'm gonna find one. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna add it to my collection of fake weapons from shows that I love. And yeah, Papa Tundi is fantastic. It sucks that he died so quickly. Yes, Papa Tundi, another one of Marcel's failed attempts to run off Klaus. Yes, Papa Tundi did come because of Marcel. That is 100% right. I absolutely love Papa Tundi. If he came back in season 2, I would not mind. If he came back as a regular, I would not mind. And his dagger he made, the way he made this pain dagger, the way he trapped Rebecca and then harnessed her power, like, everything about Papa Tundi is a great villain, and it's someone I would want to see again. Papa Tundi is A tier. He's A tier character because I want to see more of him. I want him to come back. I loved everything about him. He's the type of character I make in role-playing games. Like, if I was to make a warlock or witch, whatever you want to call him, in a role-playing game, he would be Papa Tundi. That is who I would make. A character just like that. Loved it. Papa Tundi, you the man. Sad that you died. It's a damn shame. Maybe you'll come back. I am filming with my air conditioner off because it's loud. And I am in Florida, so it's a little hot. So I might be drinking a bit of this cold brew because I'm already feeling the heat. I also have a light on, which adds a little bit to it. Yeah, definitely an A-tier villain. All right, moving on to our last witch other than Davina, which she's a whole different animal. Monique. First of all, my sister's middle name is Monique. So right there, I don't know how I feel about you. I'm just playing. I love my sister, but that is her middle name, Monique. So anytime I hear this character's name, I think of my sister because she hates her middle name. And we would always tease her by going, whatever, Monique, you know, it would always piss her off. Yes, the AC's off. The AC's off. That's why I'm hot. Because it would be loud. I don't know how anyone would like Monique. She was such a bitch. And she got the crazy eyes too. She got the crazy eyes. Like she came back thinking she was the second coming, that she was the voice of the ancestors, that she was big shit. The only good thing about Monique is she killed Sophie. Now, I've had a lot of people want me to compare her to Vicky, and I'll say this. Vicky's way worse than Monique. All right, as much as I don't like Monique, she is no Vicky. Vicky was a trash character. I'm not talking about the actress. The actress seems perfectly fine and nice. The character of Vicky was utter trash. All right. She was a user and abuser, a manipulator who would do anything she could to get what she wanted, whether it's pretending to be into Jeremy. I never bought she really liked Jeremy that way. All right. He was just a way for her to get high. All right. That's all it was. And she just wanted to take and take and take. And I hate Vicky so much, but it's because I have known people like Vicky and I've seen what they can do to their family, to their friends, to everyone around them, and how they always see themselves as just the poor victim, even though everything that happens to them is because of their bad choices. I hate Vicky. All right. I don't like Monique, but she ain't Vicky level trash. All right. Vicky's next level trash. Vicky's next level. She does have the crazy eyes though. Monique had the crazy eyes. She thought she was the second coming. She was a bitch to Davina for the longest time, even though we all know Davina is the chosen one. All right. She's the one that's got that witchy mojo that Monique wishes she could tap into. But Monique sucks, but she did kill her bitch of an aunt, so I give her that. But she was just terrible. She was a bad character. I'm glad she's dead. If Monique ever comes back, I'm not gonna like that episode unless she comes back just to be tortured. So she's a D tier, obviously. All right. Let's see. Oh, Vicky's worst. My dad's name is Klaus. Yeah, I remember you saying that. That is kind of awesome, but also kind of creepy, I guess, when you really, really love Klaus. Like you're like, oh, that's my dad's name, though. That's a little awkward. Vicky was trash. Yes, she was. Oh yeah, reading fanfics with your dad's name. Yeah, that's a little weird. Monique did kill Haley. Monique did. She cut her throat, didn't she? Once again, that's why Monique sucks. But you know what? Still not as bad as Vicky. All right. Still not as bad as Vicky. Yeah, she did. I mean, Monique did a lot of bad things, but I can at least fathom her reasoning. And a lot of it was for the witches, for her community, for her ancestors. Vicky just did shit out of selfish drug addict impulse and desire. I can at least understand Monique's position and why she did what she did. I can even say, all right, I get it. I might do the same thing if I was Monique. But Vicky, I just hate Vicky. I hate Vicky. All right, all right. Vicky is the Vampire Diaries. We need to move on from Vicky because I can do a whole rant for an hour about freaking Vicky. All right. One of my best friends is named Vicky, by the way. I love you, Vic. Vicky? Vic? I mainly call her Vic. But you're absolutely awesome. Vicky, the Vampire Diaries character, utter trash. Last I'm going to talk about it until I talk about it again, which I know I will because I hate her so much. Okay. Yeah, Vicky just did bad things. She was a spoiled brat child who was going to end up just like her mama. Vicky's future, if she wasn't turned into a vampire and then killed, was her mom. All right. That would have been Vicky's future. So maybe it's a good thing she died. Trash. Trash. All right. All right. We're moving on to some werewolves here. First werewolf is Oliver. He is the werewolf with the blonde hair who wants to rule the pack and thinks he's hot shit. And he killed Eve and he allowed explosions to come into their little place to put fear in the werewolves. And he's a bad person. He's a bad person. He's done bad things. Will he ever redeem himself? Maybe, possibly. How do I view him as a character? He's mediocre, but he's not a D tier. He's not down there with these three. So he's a solid C tier. I don't care much for him, to be honest. If he comes back, if he doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Going on to the next werewolf, we have Jackson, the werewolf royalty that should have been married to Haley, and they could have united the packs into this royal werewolf family, whatever. Jackson seems like a cool dude. All right. I will be honest. He seems pretty cool. Now, I don't like the fact that he's eyeballing Haley all the time because we all know Haley and Elijah is kind of a thing. All right. All right. Right. But Jackson's pretty cool. I mean, for the most part, he seems to be somewhat of a honorable character. He's willing to work things out for the better of his tribe, of his pack. He does not outright hate anything that's different. And he seems like a cool dude, but he needs to back off of Haley because, you know what? That's Elijah's girl. But he's a solid character. I'll throw him up here to B tier. I would never choose Jackson over Elijah. Let me tell you, if I could wave a wand and become any vampire in fiction, Elijah's probably it. All right. Now, Lestat from Interview with a Vampire is up there too. But Elijah, man, like the noble stag. He is so calm and collected and in control. And he looks good in a suit. I mean, he is everything I wish I could be. I love you, Elijah. I love you, dude. I would never choose Jackson over you. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, now we're going on to the next one. Now, what is this? I don't remember this lady's name. What is her name? She was the head of the humans, but she really turned out to be a werewolf from a pack they thought they murdered off. I don't know her name. Is she on my cheat list? I don't see her on my cheat list. Somebody let me know what her name is before I continue. I don't want to not say her name. She deserves. Francesca? Is that her name? All right, Francesca. I love this character. I mean, she's a bitch. The way she treated Cammy, her smugness, her attitude, it made me really dislike her. But I got to admit, once it all came out, once I realized her whole plan and what she's been working on for years and years and years, everything about her completely changed in my book. I love this character. I want to see where she goes from here. I want to see how powerful her family becomes. They've got the rings, they got the power, they got the mojo, but they do have one thing that makes me worry for them. They have a huge enemy called Klaus, because their magic of their rings pulls upon his power, and he's going to have to get rid of them or get rid of the rings or something, or he's going to be pretty damn weak anytime the full moon shows up. If I understand the magic correctly, which I think I do, it pulls upon his power to give them power, which weakens him on certain times. Right. So, Francesca, you're great. You're great. You're great. You're up here to A tier, girl, because you are so well acted. You play that character, you embody that character. And the big thing is, my tier ranking is based mainly on how much I like a character and how much I want to see more of that character. And I hope she's a major player in season 2. I really do. I really do hope she's a major player in season 2. Okay, see what we got here. Well, I mean, technically, is any character a villain? They're all just trying to survive. I mean, but coming from the aspect of I'm really following the original family and I want the original family to come out on top, I would consider her a villain in that context, because she is actively hurting the group I'm rooting for, and she's actively doing things that can bring them down. So I will view her as a villain, though technically, I mean, is she a villain? She's just trying to do what she has to do to regain power and things of that nature. And I get it. But if you want to look at the characters in the show in that light, there really are no villains. Papa Tunde was just doing what he had to do to empower the witches. So did Monique. So did everyone else, blah, blah, blah. So it's, it's kind of like walking on a knife's edge. If you go a little too far in either way, you can become the villain, you can become the hero. I'm going to consider her a villain, though. All right, next we have our first vampire. This is Marcel's best bud. He plays the trumpet. Cannot remember his name. What is his name? Is he on my cheat? I don't see him on my cheat list either. All right, what is this dude's name? Come on now, someone out there knows. Is it Tim? Is it Timothy? All right, Theory. I knew it started with a T. So Theory, I can't even pronounce that name. He was a solid bro to you, Marcus, but he also loved a witch. And Klaus used that to make him break Marcel's main rule. You cannot kill another vampire. So he got thrown in the tombs, and then he made a deal with Rebecca to get out, and all sorts of shenanigans went on, and he finally got out just to be murdered because that's how the cookie crumbles. He was a solid character. I don't think we got enough of him, even though he was in it quite a bit. I never really got a good feel of who he was other than a solid trumpet player and a good man. But judging by the rest of this, he's a solid B tier. I mean, I'm not putting him down there with C and D. Yeah. I mean, he was definitely a loyal friend, and loyalty did get him killed. But I really don't care that he's dead. I don't care if he ever comes back. So it's fine. But I'm not going to throw him on the C list or the D list, because you know what? Being a loyal friend counts for something. Being a solid friend counts for something. And being a hell of a good trumpet player counts for something. All right? All right, moving on. Moving on. And another one of Marcel's failed plans. He lost his girlfriend because she decided to go all Super Saiyan witchy witch and try to take on Klaus to save her boyfriend. That only ends one way, girl. That ends with your death. All right, that only ends one way. and it ended the way it should have ended. So that's your own fault. Uh, but I get it. You did it for love. Lord knows if someone took my wife and was going to throw her in a dungeon, basically bricked up for however long, 100 years, whatever. Even if I knew I was going to probably lose, I would try to save my wife. So I get it. I get it. I get it. All right. Moving on. Yeah, Sophie sucks. I hate Sophie. All right, moving on to Josh, the super awesome gay friend. And I only say it that way because that is how they set him up. They set him up so hard as the gay club kid. Like, they mention it pretty much every time he's in an episode. But you know what? You're a solid character, Josh. I love you. You are funny. You are kind. You are so well acted. I cannot speak. The nervousness he portrays, the kind of uneasiness he has all the time, it feels like, because he is stuck between Marcel and Klaus and the witches and everything else. It's absolutely great. It's absolutely great. You are a pleasure to watch. I wish you were my gay club kid best friend. All right, because you're pretty damn cool. Josh, you're solid A tier, dude. Like, I love you in the show. I don't want you to die. I really want you to keep on trucking and just get more and more awesome as the show goes along. Maybe you'll even find love. You'll find you another gay vampire guy, and y'all can live happily ever after by the time the show's over. I hope you find your happiness, Josh. You are maybe the one character right now that I hope and I think might get a happy ending, because I know none of the main characters by the end of all this are going to get a happy ending. That's just not how these shows work, especially when you're vampires and hybrids and werewolves. There's always going to be some sort of tragedy at the end. But Josh, you might make it out of this show and have your happily ever after. And I hope that happens for you. Yes, he definitely lightens the mood. He does have an innocent soul. He's absolutely fantastic. Love him to death. Josh, you're the man. You're the man, Josh. I hope you get your happily ever after. I really do. All right, moving on to Father Kieran O'Connell. Father O'Connell. He was a good character. Man. He was the one that kind of led the human faction in the interaction with the supernaturals. He was a solid priest. He was a good person to everyone he met for the most part. It sucks what happened to him being cursed by the witches just as a play, because there's really no reason for the witches to curse him other than a play. It was all a play. It was all just a move to get Cammy to do what they needed her to do. And it sucked so hard what happened to him. And then they think they can break it by killing him, and he dies, but he comes back and he chooses not to become a vampire. He's going to live his one day and find peace with God and everything else, and then go on to the next life. But no, the curse persisted. It carried over. He drank blood. He became a cursed, crazy vampire. He had to be put down. It's a damn shame. He was a good character. I would have liked to see more of him. He had a great heart and was a great leader. What I do wonder is, he didn't have anything in his super awesome storage room of magical items and badass shit to help with that curse. Nothing. Come on, dude. That room was awesome. There's all kind of good shit in there. You had nothing you could use. He was a good character though. Was he A tier or B tier though? I mean, he was an S tier. Kieran, you're A tier, bud. You are A tier, my man. You were a great character. I would have loved to have seen you keep going. I also like the actor. He was in Star Trek Picard season 3, maybe the best part of season 3, other than the member berries that any TNG fan would just love. I mean, I saw the old ship. I saw the old crew. I'm like, oh, it's so good. But really, it's just playing off of how I felt when I first watched the show. As far as Picard season 3, something standing on its own that is original to Picard season 3, he was the best part. Captain Shaw, I believe. Now, I'll tell you what I always think of when I see this actor. What's his name? Todd Stashwick. There was a episode of Law and Order Criminal Intent where he played a doctor. And he was this real, like, misogynistic, like, sweaty, big, type guy. Just someone I would not want to hang out with. And this other doctor who didn't really like him, but they thought they were friends, he would infect women with animal viruses who had sex with his character because he viewed him as nothing more than an animal. So I don't know if anyone else has ever seen that episode of Law and Order Criminal Intent, but I swear to God, he played that character so well. He was so disgusting and gross that anytime I see that actor, that is where my mind goes when I first see him. Now, once he starts doing the other role, I forget that. But every time I see him, my first thought is this dude is gross. He was so gross that his other doctor would give women animal viruses who had sex with him because in his mind, they're banging a pig, an animal. It was such a twisted episode. All right, I got off on a tangent there. Sorry. Dude, it is a wild episode of Law and Order Criminal Intent. I suggest you watch it. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I've told you the kind of big twist, but man, it was crazy. And that's how I see him. Every time I see him, that's what I see. All right, moving on. Diego, you were a good dude. Man, you almost made it to the end of season 1. You were this close, dude. Oh, there probably are people out there that twisted. I mean, there's a lot of twisted people in the world, let me tell you. There's a lot. I have known my share of twisted folks who would do twisted things. Like, you can never assume someone has the same morality you have because people can justify doing the most heinous things to themselves. And as long as they can justify it to themselves, they have no problem doing it. And that's kind of crazy. Yeah, so Diego, he was a cool cat. Loved his hair. He had that crazy hair going. He was smart, he was capable. He knew when to fight, when not to fight. And in the end, his loyalty to Marcel did him in. But it was also loyalty to himself, to his other vampires. They wanted to be free. They wanted it to be the way it was, and they were willing to take that risk. What they did not plan on was a bunch of superpowered werewolves showing up, fighting everybody, killing everybody. But he was a solid character. He was a good character. Where do I put him? He's not D. He's not C. He might be B, but then I look at the characters on the B list. Is he B or is he A? B or A? B or A? A or B? A or B? A or B? Diego, you're going B tier, my dude. You were a great character, but now that you're dead, does it really matter if you come back? Not really. I mean, you played your part. You did a good job. Yeah. Michael showed up and drank everybody dry. Yeah, right. You know, Michael loves that vampire blood too. Now, whenever he was drinking the vampire blood, I was a little worried because they got the werewolf venom in them. But then I remembered Michael is an original. He might just have a bad little hallucination trip and he'll be fine. So, yeah. All right. So we are down to 3, 6. We are down to the final 8. Uh, we're down to the final 8. These are the top 8 characters of the show. These are the ones that get the most screen time, the ones that we know and love the most. Yes, that happened last episode of season 1. I do know what happened. I have finished season 1, as all of my patrons know. I will be starting season 2 sometime this month, maybe the last week, because I did kind of do a binge. I watched, I think, 5 or 6 episodes of the Vampire Diaries universe in 1 week. Like I was really into it, and I wanted to see what happens. So I kind of binged a little, and yeah. So if you want to check out my Patreon, go check it out. For $5, you can get caught up on season 1 of the originals in 1 day, and then you can unsubscribe if you want, and just get it all for that $5. And then come back after I finish season 2, spend $5, and binge them all again. Don't matter to me. I keep it low price so you can have fun and watch whatever you want. So, yeah. All right. Top 8. The first one is a character who, to be honest, at first I didn't really care for. I thought she was a discount Caroline, and her name is Cammy. Cammy. I didn't like her at first, but by God, if she didn't grow on me by the end. She is smart. She is resourceful. She is strong-willed. She don't take no shit. She is not afraid to show her emotions, but then compose herself and do what needs to be done. She is a great character. And I can't believe I really like her, because I really thought I was going to hate her starting off, because I was like, this is fucking discount Caroline. They're throwing her at Klaus so we can get that kind of Caroline Klaus feeling, blah blah blah. I could not have been more wrong. She is so different from Caroline in so many ways, and in a good way. She is different in a good way, and I really like her character. I hope she continues on throughout the whole show. But I really do like her. She is absolutely solid A tier. She's not an S tier. She's not super awesome, mega fantastic. But she's a solid A. I really did enjoy her character. She has grown on me so much. And by the end of season 1, I was like, yeah, Cammy's a bad bitch. I dig it. Klaus does have a type. Well, Haley was never really Klaus's type. They just had a little bit of a rump in the sack, and now she's pregnant, or she has a baby now, and they're kind of forced to associate, I guess. And his love for Haley, I have no doubt Klaus loves Haley, but he loves her, I think, because she is the mother of his child. She is now part of his family, so it is a family love. But I don't think when they really hooked up, there was any love in that at all. It was just wild animal passionate sex, which I'm not knocking that. All right. There's something to be said about loveless, crazy animal passion sex. Okay. It has its place in the world. It really does. I'm not knocking it, but I don't think there was ever love there, and the love that is there now, at least by the end of season 1, I don't know where it goes from here. It could become real love, but right now it is love for his daughter's mother and for his family, because she is family now. That is how I look at it. All right, let's see what we got. She's bold and tenacious. Yes, she is bold, tenacious, loving, and caring. Yes, Danny, you said it right. Like, that is exactly it. There was not love for Haley. They just hooked up, and now she's part of the family. So the family love is there. I mean, she is part of the family. I just scratched my nose a little bit there. Huh? Got some sweaty itches going on. Okay, I swear to you, I'm not picking my nose. These are outside Outside of the hole. There was a whole Seinfeld episode about the pick versus the scratch. All right, this is a scratch. This is not a pick. All right. All right. Down to our final witch, Davina. Davina, the OP witch for half of the show. Pretty great. Pretty great. She's likable. She's innocent, yet powerful. I felt for her. She didn't want to die. She saw her friends die, throats cut. She doesn't know she's going to come back when they do it. So she's freaking out. Marcel saves her, carries her off, and protects her. And she has all this power, and he's using her, but she's kind of using him for protection. But they do have this kind of father-daughterly love thing going on. I never thought it was sexual in any way. Gonna go and throw that out there. He loves her like a daughter. Not like a daughter, like a younger sister. And she loves him like an older brother. They have that kind of sibling love, you know? Laying over her head, another tenacious she is tenacious. And let's be honest, she's also beautiful. I don't know how old the actress is when she filmed season 1. I'm hoping she's 18 or maybe a little bit older, because she's pretty fine. And if she's under 18, I'm gonna feel like a total creeper. I mean, I feel like a creeper if she's 18 and I'm saying she's hot, because I'm like 43, so that's a little bit cringe. But she's a hottie, son, and powerful and smart and funny, and she just wanted a friend. And she wanted to go hang out and be a kid and listen to her one crush play the violin, but he ends up getting killed. Thanks a lot. And she blames herself, and it was just sad. And then she ends up dying, but she comes back, and she can't access magic. But then she can access magic, and then she does something I did not see coming. So Silas, not Silas. The head of the Travelers in the Vampire Diaries. His name's not Silas. That is the original doppelganger that looks like Stefan, or Stefan looks like him. You know what I'm saying. I'm getting so excited I'm stuttering. I do have a speech impediment, folks, and it really acts up when I get excited. So be prepared for me to stutter like a mofo. So the head traveler comes back from the other side, and it's breaking down the entire afterlife, the other side, which allows Michael to push through a little bit. And Davina brings Michael back. She brings Michael back. All right, 16, 17. All right, then Davina was not attractive at all. She's a nice young lady who I did not find even remotely sexually attractive, because I am not that kind of guy who's going to say that about an underage kid. This is the internet. I do not want to be tar and feathered. She was a very special young lady who did a fine job acting. God. But yeah, so anyway, Davina brings Michael back to be her attack dog to go after Klaus. And I'm thinking, holy shit, Davina, what did you do? You do not know the hell you have unleashed upon this city. But Davina ain't no idiot, okay? She put some sort of magical bracelet in the ritual, and now she wears the bracelet, and I think the bracelet gives her control over Michael, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, being this is Michael, he will find a way to either break that spell or to get that bracelet or to do something, because Michael is clever. Little witch, yes, little witch. Yes, absolutely. It does remind you of Klaus calling Haley Little Wolf. That's funny. That's funny. All right, yeah. So Michael's back under the control of Davina, and I cannot wait for season 2 to see how she uses her powerful attack dog to get what she wants. But it will end up coming back to bite her in the ass, no doubt, because Michael will find a way to get free of her little spell and bring hell upon the whole city. But Davina, you're S tier, girl. You're top of the top. You are one of those characters that when you pop up, I'm like, okay, here we go. And she's also a integral part of the show right now. Like, I cannot imagine the show without Davina. So she's up there. She's up there. Davina the Teenage Witch. Yes, 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 yes. All right, now we're moving on to the big hitters. We'll do Michael before Marcel. Michael. If there was a main villain of the show, Michael would be it. The father, the abusive, arrogant son of a bitch of a father. Kind of reminds me of my dad, to be honest. I didn't know my dad that well, but what I do remember about him, he was very much like Michael, and he treated all of his children like Klaus. So you can take that for whatever you want. So Michael, I ain't got nothing really to say. He's S tier, baby. I loved him in the Vampire Diaries. I love that he's back in the originals. He's such a good villain. He revels in being bad. You can tell the actor just loves it. He loves being able to just be a unapologetic evil character who has a one-track mind of killing that bastard of a son, that abomination, that polluted blood, that wolf blood. Oh, he hates it. He would kill him. He would kill Haley. He would kill the grandbaby because he don't care, because ain't none of that his blood. That's all just tainted evil blood. I love that he's back. Yes, Pudding Thief. I'm so glad he's back. The man is wild. I really like the line from Rebecca in season 1 where she says she wonders if her dad broke him too. Oh, her dad broke everybody. They're all damaged and broken because of Michael. Michael jacked them all up, okay? And then they became vampires, and it amplified all of that. Oh, it's such a mess. Yeah, boy. Oh, God, boy. Oh, Michael. I love you, dude. You're so evil. So evil. I love it. All right. Final five. Marcel. You already know how I feel about Marcel. All right. He's one of the greatest characters of the show. In the originals or the Vampire Diaries, he is the best of Elijah and Klaus merged into one character. All right, he has the self-control, the ability to be noble and to inspire others in the way that Elijah can. He very much has that calmness of Elijah, the composure of Elijah. But he also, when the time comes, he can flip and he becomes so much like Klaus. Vengeful, arrogant, powerful, plotting, scheming, doing whatever needs to be done to meet his goals. He really is the best of both. Put into one character, I would follow Marcel. I would be a part of his city. I would be a part of his new world order. I would be honored to be one of his daywalkers, to get a ring and follow Marcel. He's absolutely great. Absolutely great. He's absolutely S tier. His aunt, well, kind of. I guess Rebecca's kind of his aunt, but at the same time, being he came to be with them, he was what, 12, 13 maybe? I guarantee he never looked at Rebecca like his aunt, okay? Teenage boys, super hot girl who's not of blood relation, you're never going to look at her like your aunt. You're going to always think, oh yeah, maybe one day, maybe one day. So it's a little creepier on Rebecca's side than on Marcel's side, because she should have looked at Marcel like a nephew, like Klaus's son or someone we're raising up. I get on her side, it's a little creepy. On his side, guarantee he never looked at Rebecca as anything but a super hot vampire chick. At least that's what I say. Yeah. So we're definitely on the same page there. All right. Final four. These are the big hitters. All right, we're gonna switch up. We're gonna move Haley. No, we'll do Rebecca first because she kind of left the show a little bit. Rebecca. Rebecca. I have more pity for her than any other character in the show. I really do feel she just wants to live her life and be her own person and to just try to capture some sort of joy in this immortality she has. She has been alive for 1,000 years. She's maybe had 1 or 2 good years out of the 1,000. Like, she has just had a life of misery, of being controlled, of being put in a box. Like, it's just absolutely sad. Absolutely sad the unlife Rebecca has had to live. She's a good character. I do feel we got a lot more of her in the Vampire Diaries, though. She has not been a huge character in the originals, which I find very, very odd. I mean, she is one of the originals. Now, let me ask you this without giving any spoilers away. I have not started season 2 yet. Did the actress not want to be in as many episodes? Did she have other acting things going on? Or was her character always written to be not really in this show that much? Let me know. Let me know. I'm going to wait for some sort of answer before I continue. I really feel like she's not in the show that much for a show called The Originals. Like, she's here, then she's gone, then she's here, then she's gone, then she's gone, then she comes back at the very end. She was homesick. That's right. She's a Aussie, right? Because her and Haley and her were in a show called H2O where they played mermaids. I only know that because my daughter watched it. And when I first started watching the Vampire Diaries and they showed up, I was like, those are mermaids. All right. So she wanted to spend more time home. All right. That's fine. And that makes sense. That makes sense. Because it really felt weird how little she was in the show. She was really not in it much. But I love Rebecca. Once again, she's a looker. But her character's good. But you know what? She is not S tier. I'm sorry, Rebecca. I cannot do it. You were not in the show enough. You did not do enough. But you're solid A tier, girl. You're solid A. You're solid A. Season 2, you might go up to stinking S. I don't know. There is a possibility. Well, I'm glad she loved doing TO. She is a looker. She's beautiful. Beautiful. And hey, I am not a therapist, but when you look at Klaus's type and then look at his sister, you can make your own judgments on that about what kind of twisted thing is going on with Klaus. You know what I'm saying? I mean, coincidence? What I'm saying is Klaus wants to bang his sister, but he can't, so he bangs girls that look like his sister. That's what I'm saying here. So good. So good. All right. Moving on to... Definitely S tier for you. I feel you. I feel you. And, you know, it was S or A tier, but I really think she was not in this season enough for me to justify A tier. I had to sneeze. But I hope she gets up to S tier eventually. All right, so we're moving on to Haley. Haley, our hybrid. She's a hybrid now, which is awesome. Haley don't take no shit. Mama Wolf came back at the end of the show with a vengeance, and I loved it. That Rebecca makes terrible decisions. Yes, but once again, she was also turned into a vampire as a teenager, and has spent hundreds of years in a box. Who knows what that does to your mind and your psyche? I don't know. Well, Klaus is trying to keep his family safe from Michael by keeping them in a box most of the time. I mean, would you rather be safe and in a box and not living, or take your chances running from your psycho father but having a life? I don't know. All right, yes, get back to Haley. Haley is awesome. Haley is awesome. She's got the most beautiful eyes of anyone in the show. Her eyes are just, she got like big, like Disney princess eyes. These giant, beautiful eyes. And I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. I love her character. She don't take no shit. Now, I'm tired of her being in the bayou. Get out of the bayou, girl. We in the bayou. We up here in with hicks in the bayou. We're getting us some crawfish and eating us some gator tail. I can say that. I live in the South. I have eaten crawfish. I have eaten gator tail. I have eaten frogs. I have eaten catfish. I have eaten soft-shell turtle. I've eaten everything that comes out of a swamp. All right. If it comes out of the swamp, I probably ate it. Yeah. Oh yes, yes. Stunning eyes. Most beautiful eyes. They're breathtaking. She's had her ups and downs for me as a character. One thing I have not forgiven her for. One thing I have not forgiven her for. She betrayed Elijah. She betrayed him. Told the witches where to find the bones of Celeste. Now, I know it didn't really matter at the end and blah, 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 but she didn't know any of that. She knew Elijah confided in her in a moment of weakness, and she used that to betray him, and he might have forgiven her and moved on. I have not. And that bothers me. And that makes me not know if she goes to S tier or to A tier, to be honest. I don't know if I can put her at S tier when she betrayed Elijah. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. Because I'm still upset. I'm so upset with her that she did that to him. You don't like them together. All right. I'm gonna throw this out here too. I don't think their chemistry is that great either. I really don't. The chemistry they have is that they're both super duper hot. And anytime two super hot people are flirting or kissing or doing whatever, it's kind of nice because they're both super hot. But I don't feel that chemistry either. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times. Elijah and human blah. I'm stuttering like a madman. Elijah and human Elena. They had more chemistry in the few scenes they had together than Haley and Elijah have had the entire season. Elijah, human, Elena. E and E, the double E's. The double E's. I'm telling you, the double E's, such chemistry, they could have conquered the fucking world if those two got together. It was amazing. It was amazing. But back to Haley. Haley, I'm salty, girl. You're going to A tier. I'm salty as hell because you betrayed Elijah. I'm still salty. And I can't put you at S tier because he's going to S tier. I don't want you sitting by him because I'm petty as fuck. Piss me off. Yeah, I shipped them together. Elijah, Elena, ultimate team. Could have conquered the world. Could have been the best. He was so kind to her and she to him for the most part, except when she was, stabbing him. Yeah, Elijah did have a thing for the doppelgangers, so I think something could have actually worked out. He would have done anything for her. You are right, Loki. You are right. It could have been something amazing, but they couldn't do that because she was already in a love triangle. You can't add another person in there and make it a love square. We can't have a love square. We got to keep the triangle because that's the formula. And we're down to our last two. We're down to our last two. The big boys, the heavy hitters, Elijah and Klaus. Elijah, the most honorable, the most noble. And I swear to God, when I started watching the originals, and I'm digging you so hard that first episode, and yeah, Elijah's back, we're kicking some ass, and you get stabbed with a dagger. My heart dropped. Are you telling me you're bringing Elijah back just to throw him in a box for the season? Thank God that wasn't the case. He was only in the box for a little bit, but he has proven himself in this show. He has proven to me why he is my favorite character in the whole Vampire Diaries universe. He is smart. He is cunning. He is powerful. He is not afraid to fight. He is not afraid to kill. He will do anything for his family. He will do anything to protect those he loves. And the way he is just ready for a fight. He's just like, all right, let me fix my suit. Let's roll. It's time to kill. Just ripping hearts out, throwing them away, whooping ass. Willing to do anything for Haley. Anything for Haley because she carries the future of his family. And he also loves her. But honestly, I think the big thing is she carries the future of his family, of his family's name. It is something he thought would never happen, that his family would get to grow, would actually have the chance to keep growing and become more than it already is. And she helped fulfill that dream he probably never thought was possible. And it's absolutely fantastic. Elijah's so good. All right, let me read some. He is scarier than Klaus a little bit. Yes. I will say that too. All right. No one is surprised when Klaus loses his shit and murders everybody. It is expected. What is frightening is someone who is so composed, someone who has such control, and to see them murder and massacre and see them lose control even a fraction, that is fearful because you don't know how far they can go. We all know how far Klaus will go, and then he'll be sad about it and whine about it and, oh, I was the victim. Elijah going dark side might be one of the scariest possibilities I can imagine. Because I do not think there would be any woe is me after. I think if Elijah went dark side, he would be like, it's time to let go. It's time to take all that shit I've pushed down for 1,000 years. And it's time to go Hulk. Time to go Hulk mode and just let it all out. And I don't give a fuck what happens. All right. I'm just going for it. Ugh. That would be terrifying. All right, agreed. His calm exterior makes him really, yes, it does. Yeah, just casually be dropping people. I love it. I love it. Elijah. No one is even surprised on this rating. Elijah is S tier, 100% S tier. He would be higher if there was a higher rank, but S tier is as high as you go. Yes, I could have made a higher rank, but then it would just get crazy. Elijah's my man. Elijah's my man. Elijah is my man. If I could hang out with one character from the show, it would be Elijah. If I could have one vampire turn me, it would be Elijah. If I could have one vampire train me, it would be Elijah. Elijah is my go-to. Love you to death. And that leaves the original hybrid. The original bad boy. The one, the only Klaus Mikaelson. Daddy issues for days. Abandonment issues for days. Fear for days. Woe is me for days. The constant victim of everyone else, even though he does the most evil shit. And if you even do the slightest thing back, you are the bad guy and he is the victim. Oh, Klaus killed your whole family and murdered your dog, but you didn't put his toilet seat down. You're the bad guy. You're the bad guy. Klaus did what he had to do because you disrespected him, and now he's all, woe is me. That is Klaus. That is Klaus. And I say that with love. With love. I love how petty he is, how emotionally childish he is. He has the emotional maturity of a 5-year-old. Klaus has the emotional maturity of a 5-year-old. All right. He is smart. He is clever. He does heinous things, but his emotional maturity is so low and everything is an attack on him and everything is personal and he is never in the wrong. Even when he can say he's in the wrong, he'll turn around and flip it the next episode that he really just did it because he had to. Because they forced his hand. Everyone's forcing his hand because they moved against me. Klaus, I love you. I love you, you psychotic son of a bitch. He's so good. He is so tortured and damaged. His father jacked him up more than anyone else. Well, I'm glad you're back after 2 minutes. This will all be, of course, saved on YouTube for future viewing. But Klaus, my man, of course, you're S tier. I mean, how could you not be? You are fantastic. You don't blame him, and that's the problem. Nobody blames Klaus. They all baby him. Oh, poor Klaus, poor Klaus. It's all what our father did to you. Let me tell you something, Klaus. Okay, let me tell you something. A lot of people had shitty parents. Parents who hit them and abused them and mentally and physically just ruined them. They don't all become like you, Klaus. All right. They have self-awareness and they can grow and become more than they were forced to be because of their parents. All right. Now, I get it. You're a vampire and a werewolf. So maybe going through all of that has made it harder for you to move on from the things that happened in your past. I get it, dude. I get it. Put them characters in order. In what type of order? Like what they are? So let's do how is that? Is that what we're talking about? Or do you want my top S tier, my top A tier? I will do it that way too. Yeah, so I get it, Klaus. You are a mess. You are such a mess. All right, so we can rank them in each tier. Oh, okay, we will be doing that in just a moment. I get it, Klaus. You are damaged beyond damaged. You're a vampire. You're a werewolf. You can't control your emotions because you're basically a wild animal in a human body with vampire blood urges and werewolf rage urges, and you're a hot mess. I get it. You need to talk to Cammy some more, okay? I think Cammy was good for you. All right, so you need to get some help and not kill the person helping you, and that would be much appreciated. But okay, that is my tier ranking of the characters. Now we're going to go and rank the characters within the tier. So we're going to go worst to best. And I'm going to do every tier because it doesn't take long. The worst in D tier is Monique. Second worst is Sophie. And the third worst is whoever this person is. Why is she the third worst? Because I don't even know who she is. So I don't have a ton to hate her for. So there we go. All right, here, the C tier, we're going to leave that just the way it is. Eve. Actually, no. Eve, you're going last because I hate you as an actress. All right, there we go. So we got Witchy Witch here. Whatever, she's fine. We got our werewolf dude, Oliver. You're kind of trash. And we have Eve, who I thought was the worst actress in the whole damn show. And I don't really like her, so whatever. All right, B tier. To the front, we have Celeste, because she played that long game beautifully. We'll put Terry, whatever his name is. He's on the bottom. Followed by Jackson. And we'll leave Guinevere here and Diego here. And yep, so there we go. So those are all pretty simple. Eve to D tier. I mean, I thought about it, but she ain't as bad as these three down here. She ain't as bad as these three. These three, fuck these witches. All right. So the S and the A tier. This is going to take a little more thought. All right. I mean, top of the A tier is Papa Toombi. Papa Tundi. Because I want him. I want so much more Papa Tundi. I want Papa Tundi back, man. I want Papa Tundi. He reminds me of a character I made in Vampire the Masquerade. He was a Samedi, which are from the Caribbean. He was a necromancer, and he wore the same suit that this dude wore, and he made magical weapons. I'm really attached to Papa Tundi. I really love his character. I want him back. Monique was more interesting, but I hated her so much. The crazy eyes. And she was always picking on Davina, at least Eve, even though she was a terrible actress. I like what they tried to do with her character. I liked how she helped Haley, how she was the kind of mama figure who helped her back into the werewolf life and learn things and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Papa Tundi is number 1 A tier. Followed by Haley, Rebecca. That's fair. We'll move Cammy up. Josh. Yeah, that seems pretty right there. So let me know what you think of my rankings so far. They are going from who I like the least to the best in the tier. Now S tier. I mean, we're putting Elijah up front. This might surprise some people, but Marcus over Klaus. I like Marcus. I mean, they're basically all S tier. They're all top tier, but I like Marcus more than Klaus. They're both great characters, and I love them both. But I like Marcus more than Klaus. 100%. then Michael and Devine. Yeah, all right. That is my rankings within the tiers. What do you think? Waiting for comments. Marcel. Looks like all of my least favorite characters are witches. That's kind of funny. All right, folks, we got any comments? We got any follow-ups? Let me know if you have any questions, what you think, what you disagree with. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer if anyone wants to talk. And if no one does, we'll call it an ending. S tier ranking from best to worst. Elijah, Klaus, and Rebecca, Marcel, Michael. That's a solid ranking. I contemplated putting Rebecca in S tier, but she just really wasn't in season 1 that much. So I just could not justify it. You do not put Davina in S tier. Interesting. Which I kind of get that too. She's between S and A tier, but she made it to S tier for me. Man, oh man, I cannot believe I'm done with season 1 already. I really feel like I rocketed through season 1 of the originals. I've also finished season 5 of the Vampire Diaries, and I'm interested to see where that goes. I will be doing maybe a Vampire Diaries ranking for season 5 at a later date, just so I can talk about my man Enzo. Enzo, I love. He's the man. He's my favorite new character to the Vampire Diaries. He might be one of my favorite characters in general. Definitely top 5. A tier is Josh, Cammy, Davina, and Haley. Wow. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Put him behind Father Kieran. No. And once again, I completely recognize I am biased with Papa Tundi. He is just a type of character I love. The type of character I absolutely love. And I just can't get around that. Yes, a TVDU super ranking. I will do a super ranking when I finish the Vampire Diaries and the originals. I am still not sure if I'm going to watch Legacies. I will be doing a Patreon poll when that time comes. And if my patrons want me to watch Legacies, I will watch it. But I'm not 100% sold on it as of right now. Between Marcel and Enzo, I got to go with Marcel over Enzo because I know Marcel better. But Enzo would be S tier. So if I put him on this ranking, he would be after Papa Michelson, before Klaus. Because I do like Klaus more than Enzo, but I like Enzo more than Papa Michelson. Legacy sucks. Please watch Legacies. Legacies is so bad. All right, so I might put the poll up about Legacies next month just to kind of get a feeling. So if you really want me to watch Legacies next month, spend $1, join my Patreon, and you'll get to vote. Because I will do whatever the poll says. Majority rules. Not a lot of fan of Legacies, at least not in the chat. The worst part about the Vampire Diaries for me was them being in school. Once I got out of that, I kind of liked it more. What I love about the originals is they're all grown-ups doing grown-up shit. The only thing I know about Legacies is it's a bunch of like younger vampires or werewolves or something that are in like a private school, something like that. And that very concept just isn't appealing to me very much. But once again, I will let my patrons decide. Well, Loki, even if the poll says I shouldn't watch it, it doesn't mean I won't watch it on my own time. But watching something to film versus just watching something is a whole different animal. It takes a lot more time to film, to talk, to edit, to post, to process, to get it up. Like the average 45-minute show takes about 3 hours from filming to upload. So it takes basically a 1 hour show and it becomes a 3 hour time block. You have to set aside to watch, comment, edit, upload, post. So even if it doesn't win, there's a good chance I would watch it, just not post my reactions. Because I can binge watch, just put the show on and just binge watch it episode after episode. Or even when I'm working and have some downtime, because I can generally listen to a show while I'm working at my actual job, and I could watch it then and kind of see what's going on. So we will see what happens with it. But just because it doesn't win the poll to be reacted to doesn't mean I won't watch it. It just means I won't watch it and film it and put it up. Because like I said, it takes a 1 hour show, turns it into a 3 hour project for each episode. So that is really the big thing. All right. Yeah. So any other questions, comments? Want to talk about anything the originals related? Got any questions about certain scenes or anything is there anything you want to know? We're approaching about an hour and a half here. Yeah. I kind of knew that Legacies kind of had the fan base split. I know a lot of people like it, a lot of people hate it. I'm just not too keen on the concept. If the concept I think is right. A bunch of supernatural like teenagers or maybe even younger, I don't really know, being taught how to use their powers in a private school and all that shenanigans. The final scene in the finale. The final scene, we're talking about Klaus giving hope to Rebecca, right? That was the final scene? No. The final scene. The final scene. The two witches come back. And you're like, all right, the witches are back. And they're looking down. And you realize that is Mama Mikaelson and her one son. I don't remember his name. The one that was willing to die to kill all of his brothers and sister. That was an amazing cliffhanger, because I'm like, holy shit, that's Mama Mikaelson. Mama Mikaelson's back. She brought her son back. They're in different bodies. The whole family's back. We have Michael back. We have Michael back. We have Mama Mikaelson back. We have the one brother back. Shit is gonna really take off in season 2, because oh my god, because one, Mama Mikaelson is a bad bitch. I mean, she's a powerful witch, and that one son of hers, now that he's in a witch's body, I think, can he do witch magic? Maybe he'll be back to doing his mojo. I don't know, but what I know is it was an amazing way to end season 1. I'm so pumped to see where we go from here, and yeah, it's kind of awesome. I'm here for it. Finn is his name. I hated that character on the Vampire Diaries. He looked like an asshole. We still have Cole, who is on the other side. Maybe Cole will come back too. Maybe. He seemed like a pretty fun guy. Let's see. Which storyline did you like and which didn't work for you? God, there's so many storylines. Let me think of which one didn't work for me. I kind of liked them all, to be honest. If I had to pick one, it would be the Cammy father O'Connell crazy brother, and then he gets cursed. Kind of the whole witch's curse thing on the O'Connell family. Like, I didn't really care for it. Maybe because it's just so brutal. Like, to turn a young kid who wants to be a priest into a mass murderer, and everyone thinks he's just crazy, and they desecrate his cemetery plot, and they call him killer and murderer. That's kind of hardcore. And then the curse on Father O'Connell and him going dark side, becoming a vampire. Like, it was great drama, but it's kind of my least favorite. And it might just because it was so dark. I mean, it was really, really dark. Let's see. Season 1 of the Vampire Diaries, season 1 of the original. Oh, season 1 of the originals, no doubt. But that's kind of a loaded question. Kind of a loaded question. Because season 1 of the Vampire Diaries, I'm going into it blind. I'm learning who the characters are. I'm taking it all in. Season 1 of the originals had 2 seasons of the Vampire Diaries to back it up. I already knew these characters. I knew their history. I knew their interactions. I knew how they were. So going into the originals, I already had a good baseline of what these characters were, what their motivations were, and how things were going to pan out. Let me go back to my favorite storyline real quick, because I did my least favorite, which once again, I think just because it's so dark. My favorite storyline for this season, honestly, it might be the kind of underlining main one, which is the Harvest Girls, which kind of went from the first episode to the very last one. I really liked it. I liked the underlining concept of the witches having to sacrifice young girls and then bring them back to re-energize their power. The breaking of the ritual by Marcel. The witches now unable to do magic because they have Davina bringing Haley in to be used to help get rid of Marcel. I mean, really, the thing that pushed the season forward was that main plot, the Harvest Girls, and all the things tied into that. That was really great. Bonnie or Davina? Davina, 100%. I am over Bonnie. I do not like her being the anchor. She lost all of her witchy mojo, and she's just the anchor. And her and Jeremy just wanting to make out all the time. I'm kind of over it. I like Davina much, much, much better. Do a ranking of the 5 seasons. I will do a ranking of the seasons for the Vampire Diaries when I finish the Vampire Diaries. I don't want to do a season ranking when I haven't finished the show yet, because there's 7, 8 seasons. How many seasons are there of the Vampire Diaries? I don't even know. I think there's 7. There could be 8. The type of magic they used in New Orleans was a fun addition. Yes, the ancestral magic was pretty damn cool. I do like that. Who am I most like? Who am I most like in the Vampire Diaries? Not the Vampire Diaries, the originals. Who am I the most different from? That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I mean, I would want to say I'm most like Elijah, but that's not the case. I wish I was like Elijah. That's a tough question. All right. So I'm going to answer that in kind of a two part. Who am I really the most like? Probably Cammy, because she's a human. I'm a human. She's got problems. I got problems. She's able to deal with her problems and live her life for the most part. So can I. Who do I relate to the most? Klaus. I relate to Klaus more than anyone else because I'm a hot mess up here. You know, I'm I'm a hot mess up here, man. I keep it pretty in check, but I can relate to Klaus more than any other character. Just the feeling of constant dread and paranoia and knowing you're just not right and there's nothing you can do about it. So you try to live your life. I guess. I don't know. That is a tough question. But yeah, who am I most different to? Maybe Rebecca or Haley. One, they're both females. I'm not a girl, so we got that. But probably Rebecca. She's just so emotional and makes decisions on just emotional basis solely. And I'm very not that. I do not tend to make most of my decisions based on emotion. I try to really contemplate things because I know if I just go off emotion, I'm going to make the wrong choice because I am not only a complete emotional mess, but I deal with it by just having no emotion at all. I just tuck it all down, just push it down until it's not there, which is not healthy. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at there. This is my own little therapy session, I guess. So here we go. All right, what else do we got? Any other questions? After I shared probably a little too much. Probably shouldn't share that much with all you folks, but here I am sharing it anyway. Any prediction for season 2? Yes. So Michael will be under Davina's control for only a short time before he finds a way to break it. And he goes after everyone, Klaus, Elijah, Davina, Josh, the whole shebang. The one head of the family that's got all the super werewolves now, she's not going to make it out of season 2. That whole family's going to die because Klaus has to kill them because they weaken him, take away some of his power. So they've got to do something about that. Mama Mikaelson is back and she will cause so much heartache. And I do believe she will find out that Hope is not dead somehow and will try to use that to control her family and to control what's going on. Haley will become super alpha hybrid lady and control all of the werewolves. Josh will find his love somehow. And I think that's it. I want to see Papa Tundi. I want to see more Papa Tundi. I want to see more of the Mikaelson's family flashbacks. I love when they do flashbacks. I call them the Highlander scenes because they did it in the movie Highlander. And I love all of that shit. So I want to see all of it. I want to see flashbacks on Michael, on Klaus, on Elijah, on Marcel, on Mama Mikaelson, on Rebecca, on Papa Tundi, even Haley. Show them all. Show all the flashbacks you can throw in. I love that shit. Any character or storylines? I mean, not that I know of because I really don't know where they're going to go. I mean, I assume we're going to continue with Klaus and the Mikaelsons trying to take back New Orleans to be their home. That's really the main one. Who would I like to date in the TVDU? Come on, Caroline, 100%. And that's funny because I usually prefer the brunettes. I usually don't go for the blondes. But Caroline's my girl. All right, she is smart and sassy and funny and cute and adorable and the most put together vampire to ever walk the face of the earth. Tyler making an appearance was fine. I mean, it was only, he was only in there for a little bit. It makes sense. It was fine. It didn't blow my mind or anything. I much prefer the Klaus appearance in the Vampire Diaries where he and Rebecca hooked up. That was a much better appearance. You date Marcel or Elijah? Those are some pretty solid choices. But as a man who prefers females, Caroline's my girl. Caroline, man. Oh, my second one would be Catherine. And I know there's a good chance I'm going to die, but I loved Catherine. Love Catherine so much. I hope Catherine comes back in the Vampire Diaries. I hope she's not gone forever. Elijah, Klaus, Bex, yeah. I would not date Marcel or Elijah, but I would be their bros. I would be their bros 100%. We would hang out all the time and have good times. Special appearances from the TVD. I would like to see Damon show up in New Orleans. Damon is just such a fun character. I think he would fit into New Orleans in a great way. I think he and Marcel could team up, maybe go against Klaus or do some sort of shenanigans. I would like to see that. I would like to see Caroline show up so her and Klaus could spend some time together, maybe something would happen, though I doubt they'll ever see each other again. That was kind of the deal they made whenever they had sex. See, Caroline, Damon. Is there anyone else? No, I think that's about it. Caroline or Damon would be a nice little crossover and could be a great episode. Damon. I love Damon. I keep waiting for the actual actor, Ian Somerhalder. Well, I don't know how to say his last name. Basically, Ian, he and the guy that plays Stefan, I don't know his name. They have a bourbon that they make called Brothers Bond. I have a couple bottles and they do signings, but they never do signings close enough for me to drive to. And it pisses me off. I want to get some autographed bottles, damn it. And I don't want to pay $150 to get one. I want to go where they're at, get it signed, take my picture, add it to my liquor cabinet. Damn it. Somerhalder. I can't say it. I got a speech impediment, folks. I can't say big words. My favorite canon one is Klaus and Caroline, even though it only lasted one episode. My favorite non-canon, I've already talked about it. It would be Elijah and human Elena. The double E's. The double E's. I'm telling you, their chemistry was better than anything I've seen in this show. Anything. Like, other than Caroline and Klaus, maybe. But man, I want to see Elijah and human Elena. Not vampire Elena, human Elena. Human Elena and Elijah would be the greatest hookup in the history of the show. And like I said, they could get married. They could live together for 50, 60, 70 years and have a great life, and things would be great. Well, my goodness, Mary, you need to make one of those signings. Make one and let me know. I'll buy the bottles from you. I love me some bourbon. And I have a couple. I have 2 bottles now. One is halfway gone. The other one is full, but I would love to have a signed bottle. I would never even open it. I would just put it on the shelf and look at it when I feel sad.
Yeah, I do think Klaus and Haley have better chemistry than Elijah and Haley. I really think the only chemistry Elijah and Haley have is the chemistry of two really hot people making sexy eyes at each other. That is chemistry because they're both super hot, and you're like, that doesn't hurt my eyes any. But for actual chemistry, where you just feel it in the air, like you could cut it with a knife, I don't feel that with the two of them. But as two very hot people, it doesn't hurt me when they make out. I'm like, all right, that's nice on the eyes. I'll take it. I'll take it. Bum, 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 bum. Man, it's getting hot in here. It is only 12:30 and it's already 93 degrees. Gotta hate Florida. Heat index of 99. All that talk about eating stuff from a swamp, though, I'm kind of hungry for frog legs now. I don't think I have any frog legs, though. All right. Anything else, folks? You got me here. Now is your chance. Oh, Klaus and Caroline. Come on. Who has more chemistry, Klaus or Cammy? Klaus or Caroline? Klaus and Caroline. Chemistry for days. Klaus and Cammy, their chemistry is that of like a teacher and a student or something. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird chemistry. It's not sexual. I've never felt a sexual chemistry between Klaus and Cammy. Never. I've never felt it. I've never seen it. I've never felt it. I've never wanted it. Klaus and Caroline, I get hot and bothered just thinking about it, that chemistry. My goodness. Maybe it's not hot in here because it's Florida. Maybe it's hot in here because I'm thinking about Caroline and Klaus. They got that chemistry. Would I rather be a vampire, a werewolf, or a witch? So in the Vampire Diaries universe, I would rather be a witch. There's some other fiction, some other shows, some other games. I'd rather be something else. But in the Vampire Diaries universe, I'd rather be a witch. Witches are OP. Witches have options. Hell, I could get to be 100 years old and I'm going to die. I could turn myself into a vampire. Right? Right. So I would rather be a witch. 100%. You can do so much more. You really don't have many of the drawbacks. I mean, the werewolves are tied to the stinking moon and it hurts to change. Vampires have to drink blood and they can't get in the sun unless they get a daylight ring. Witches just have all the supernatural benefits. And I think I'd rather be a witch. Shit. Witches can even cast a preemptive spell on themselves that if they die, they come back. I mean, thinking witches, man. Witches are OP. I have not read Empire of the Vampire. I have not read much vampire books recently. The last vampire books I read was The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. I read up to, I think, Tale of the Body Snatcher, and that was back in the late 90s. But I will take your consideration. I will look up that book and I will try to give it a read. Loki wants to be an original vampire. I mean, that's kind of cool. Loving chemistry. I feel no love between Klaus and Cammy. Not a love. It's more like like I said, like a student and a teacher love. Like, I love my teacher and I love my students, but it's not love. I feel that between Klaus and Caroline, not between Klaus and Cammy. Never have, never will. Empire of the Vampire. That kind of a tongue twister. Empire of the Vampire. Vampire of the Empire. Empire Vampire. Yep, I would be a witch, though. I would definitely be a witch. And then I could always become a vampire if I really wanted to. If I thought I was going to die or something happened. Because it's easy to become a vampire. Shit, you just need a vial of vampire blood. Just drink it off yourself. And come back and drink just a taste of blood and boom, you're good to go. Time period I'd like to see in a flashback. I would like to see maybe the Revolutionary War or maybe even the Civil War. That would be fun. I would like to go even farther back, but I don't think they would even go back that far. Like, I'm talking like back to like the Mayan civilization or the Aztecs or something like that. But I don't think they were around back then. Maybe they were. I don't know. The best villain so far of TVDU is Papa Michelson. Papa Michelson's the best villain, the greatest villain. He's so good, so good. Papa Michelson, just evil to the core, on a quest to rid the world of his fucking children. And in second place is Mama Michelson. So the two Michelson parents are the two worst and best villains. Love them both. Viking Times would be cool too. Yes, Vikings would be cool. I'd rather live in the Salvatore house. Salvatore house. I would not want to live in New Orleans. As someone who's been to New Orleans many times, the city smells. There is a funk to the city of New Orleans, okay? There is a funk. Plus, they built a city below sea level. It floods. It floods at the drop of a hat. And it makes it smell even worse. I'm telling you, there is a reason they hose down the roads every morning before things get going. New Orleans stinks, okay? I would live in the Michelson, no, I would live in the Salvatore house. Salvatore house. Yes, it is hot and humid too. As someone who lives in Florida, yes, it is about the same in New Orleans. Why are you angry, Loki? Why are you angry? You are still so angry. Oh, yes, that is such shit, isn't it? They tore it down. They tore down the Salvatore house, and I believe it's a Mercedes dealership now. It's a Mercedes dealership, that whole land, selling cars on it. You could have turned that into a fucking bed and breakfast, and you'd have made money hand over fist. So New Orleans is a great place to visit. Great place to visit if you have a good head and you're not an idiot. There's a lot of crime. They keep the French Quarter pretty civil. There are still some pickpocketers and panhandlers. But if you venture past the touristy areas in New Orleans, it is a whole different beast. I have, like I said, I've spent quite a bit of time in New Orleans, especially when I was younger. And, you know, I met some people that would kill you as quick as talk to you. And, you know, they had the means to do so. But if you have a good head on your shoulders, you know what you're doing. It's a great place to visit. It would have been a great hotel, a great bed and breakfast. I mean, they would have made tons of money. Tons of money. What set prop would I want? I want the indestructible steak, the white oak steak that was merged with the ring that has all the silver on it. I want that. I want the OG prop of that. I mean, if I could have any prop, it'd be Damon's car, because that's an awesome car. But if we want to be more realistic, I would want the steak. Yeah, and like I said, the French Quarter, the touristy areas are not that bad. They're really not, because they have a vested reason to keep people safe in those areas. That's where the tourists come. But if you venture outside of the touristy areas, keep a good head on your shoulders and be aware of your surroundings, because it is kind of rough out there. In New Orleans, it is a high poverty city, and where there's high poverty, there's high crime. That's just the nature of humanity. You know, But I've had many great times in New Orleans. I've even been to the crime infested parts and stayed in a house with one bedroom and like 12 people. And, you know, they're cooking something in the bathroom I'm not going to talk about on YouTube. And that's how they make their money. And I was fine there and I had a good time. But if you go into certain places without knowing where you're going, you could run into some problems. So stay to the tourist areas, eat the food, take the pictures, have a good time. And, you know, it's a great city. Nice. I need to go to that building. I have been to Covington, Georgia, which is Mystic Falls. I've been to a bunch of the buildings there, but I do plan on going back. So I will definitely be going back to New Orleans when I finish the show. I might go before then because I go every so often whenever my wife just wants to go. It's about a 4-hour drive from my house to New Orleans. So that's not bad. I mean, that's not a bad drive at all as far as America goes. I know there's some other countries where a 4-hour drive seems crazy, but in America, in North America, a 4-hour drive is nothing. That's a drop. That's a drop in the bucket to take a trip. So I do plan on going back. I will definitely go back to see some of the sights of the show when I finish. America's dentist blow your mind. I bet. Like we will take a day trip if it's under a 6-hour drive. Like a 6-hour drive, we'll drive somewhere 6 hours, spend the day, drive home. A 6-hour drive is fine for a day trip. Well, Loki, if you ever want to do it, whenever I finish the Vampire Diaries and the originals, I'm going to be going back to Covington, Georgia to go on the whole tour because I did not do the whole tour last time because I was only into the Vampire Diaries for a little bit. And if there is anyone out there who, when I get to that point, wants to go, I will not pay for you to fly there. I will not pay for your hotel room. I will pay for your tour. I will pay for anyone who wants to meet me to go on that tour whenever the time comes. I will put the date out there when I get closer to that time. But if you can find a way to Covington, Georgia, I will cover the cost of your tour. Drive through 3 countries in Europe in 4 hours. Yeah. So North America is a big place. It would take just to drive from one end of Florida to another would probably be 12 to 15 hours, maybe. Just to drive from the top of Florida to the bottom of Florida. Like, the U.S. is a big place. Don't be afraid of flying. I was that way for the longest time, but now I've been on 20, 30 flights. My daughter, who is only 8, has flown like 20 or 30 times. Like, amazes me. I never got on a plane till I was in my late 30s, maybe. Like, it took me a long time to fly. But once you get past the initial fear, you really won't want to travel any other way just because of the amount of time it saves. It's absolutely great. You can take a ship. Yeah, right. But, you know, we all have our fears and it's hard to get over them. It's easy to say to someone, just get over your fear. It's fine. It's another thing to actually do it. But they say you face little fears. And once you can conquer the little fears, the bigger fears like flying become a little less hard to overcome. You know, but what do I know? But there will be a spot for you if you can make it. I would love to go on that tour with you, my dearest, maybe one of my first Vampire Diaries and original patrons. You've been with me from the get-go, and I love you to death. We are over the 2-hour mark, folks. So let's get me some questions or anything you want to talk about. Like I said, I'll keep going until no one has anything left to say. So. Danny, it's time for you to get on a plane, man. Like I said, I didn't fly for the first time till my late 30s, but it's fine. It's fine. Like once you get over that first fear, you'll not want to travel any other way just because of the time it saves. I am actually more anxious getting through all the airport shit than the actual flying. Just going through the hassle of going through the airport and checking bags if you have to check them, and getting the seat you want on the airplane, and all of that spikes my anxiety a lot more than the actual act of flying on a plane. The flying on the plane part is the easiest part of the whole thing, now that I've done it a few times. We just lock you in. Yeah, we just lock you in a box, send you over. Ah, gotcha. Harry Mack. I haven't done a Harry Mack reaction in a hot minute. I need to get back on it. Just YouTube. I'm kind of over YouTube right now, to be honest. It's not been so nice to me. All right, folks, we'll get in your last bit of questions if you have them. I'm gonna give it about 8 more minutes, and if I don't get a lot of questions, I'm gonna call it, but we'll see what happens. What TV2 characters would be great parents and which wouldn't? So Caroline would be a great parent, obviously. I think Stefan would be a good parent as long as he can control the Ripper urge. Honestly, I think most people in the Vampire Diary universe would be good parents. Because it's one of those things where you never know until you have a kid if you're going to be a good parent. It doesn't matter how you act when you don't have one. You really, the rubber hits the road when you have a kid. And honestly, I think every character for the most part would be good parents, other than, of course, Michael. And Michael would probably be the least good parent. But honestly, I think everyone else has what it takes to be a good parent. Everyone that I've met in the show who are the main cast and crew, you know, because they all are caring and smart, and they do what needs to be done to protect those they love. And that all is what it takes to be a good parent. But at the end of the day, you really don't know until the rubber hits the road. I thought I would be a much worse parent than I am. But once I had a kid, you know, it kind of put things into perspective, and you realize, like, I am responsible for this child not to grow up all jacked up the way I am. Like I have the power to have this kid grow up to be a functional, good member of society, or to be a hot freaking mess. And do I want to do that? No, I don't want my kid to grow up being a hot mess. I want my kid to grow up to see the good in the world and to become a functional, good member of society, and to live her best life and to be happy, whatever that means. So I don't know. It's kind of a hard one. The worst werewolf of the TVDU. I'm going to go with Oliver, who is this dude right here, just because I don't like him. He has killed Eve, who is technically a member of his pack, even though she's never changed. And he allowed other werewolves to be blown up and all that shit for a power play. And that makes him a pretty shitty werewolf. So Oliver, you are the worst. Do you think Klaus and Marcel will ever repair their father-son friendship? Yes, I do. Now, after they fix it, will it be broken in another week? Probably. But I think they can fix what they have if both of them really want to, and if they quit playing games, which I don't know if they can. Which will make me break down in tears. I don't think any of the TVDU series would make me break down in tears. I will get a little teary-eyed here and there, but to break down in tears, I don't think either of the shows have what it takes to make me break down in tears. That's just not who I am, and I don't think it would ever happen. Which character do you think could make you crack? What do you mean by crack? Like lose it emotionally? None. Like, I will get teary-eyed. I have gotten teary-eyed whenever something's happening and the acting's good and then the music comes in. I can get a little teary-eyed, but to actually crack and break down and lose it, I will tell you the last movie that made me break down and really lose my shit, and I was probably 14 or 15. I haven't cried in 20 years. Like, cry. It was Black Beauty. Black Beauty, that damn horse. At the end, when the boy who had the horse as a child finds Black Beauty being sold at this, basically to be sold off for meat or whatever, and he doesn't recognize Black Beauty at first, and he walks off. And then Black Beauty does the little head thing and the foot thing. And then he turns around and he moves the hair and he sees the marking and he's crying and Black Beauty's crying and I'm crying. And it's just the saddest thing ever. But that was many years ago. So I will get teary-eyed, no doubt, but a full-on breakdown cry, I don't think anything this show or the Vampire Diaries can do would make me break down like that. I just don't think it would happen. Pub crawl. Okay, Marcel, Damon, Enzo, Alaric. Who would be number 5? Matt, the most underrated human ever. Yes, Matt, Damon, Enzo, Marcel, and who else did I say? Alaric. Those are my 5. Those are my 5 pub crawl crew. That would be fun. Who did you pick, M? Loki, Enzo, Damon, Alaric, Elijah, and Marcel? We had a pretty similar take, sir. I would only switch out Elijah with Matt. And only because I don't think a pub crawl with Elijah would be that much fun, but I think Matt could have a good time. Character would drive you crazy, annoyed if you had to spend Vicky, I would kill Vicky. I would murder that bitch if I had to spend 24 hours with her. I would find a way. Oh, come on with the Matt hate, man. I have more compassion for Matt than any other character. Once again, why the hell are all these rich vampires not throwing him some money so he ain't got to work all the time? Like, I relate. No, that's who I relate to the most in the Vampire Diaries universe. Matt, having to work all the damn time, living by yourself since you were like 15, 16, paying bills, having to work all the time just to put food in your mouth and living this shitty life while everyone else is off gallivanting around with their powers and they got money from somewhere because they're ancient vampires who have money in the bank and they are all my friends, but can't none of those mofos throw me $500 a week so I ain't got to work busting tables and living a shit life. Matt, you're the man. I relate to you more than anybody. Living that life. Elijah would be your designated driver. Love it. Can't believe you got the Matt hate. Oh, looks like I just had a stroke mid-message there. Be wrong. Let's see, which character? I've only heard about that movie, never seen it. Someone needed to cry on cue. Can't remember. Dude, I'm telling you, Black Beauty, the movie, the one that is so sad at the end. And then it's happy at the end. And then you cry even more because it's a happy ending, but you're so sad that you cry still. Yeah, poor Matt, still having to work even through, Matt's dealing with all this shit. And he's always someone they go to for help. And he's still having to work a 9 to 5 to put food on the table. That's some bullshit. All those rich people he hangs around, they making him work like a dog. But yeah, that is my pub crawl crew. I think it's a solid crew. I think Matt would be a good part of it. I mean, we saw he and Rebecca had some fun that one summer. I'm so glad he got to have one summer of not working and paying bills and banging hot vampires and hot traveler vampires and just living the life. All right, we will catch you later. Thanks for making it to the ranking. It was great having you. I'll see you on the next one. I'll see you on Patreon and rock and roll. It was great having you here. All right, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer either, unless people have something to say. So throw out any last minute questions, comments, concerns before we get this thing shut down. Matt and Rebecca did make a cute couple. Bye. See you later. Bye, Danny. Danny Banani. Yes, I like Rebecca and Matt better than Rebecca and Marcel. Like you said, the whole Rebecca Marcel thing is a little creepy from her end. And the power dynamic there is a little off too. So I don't know. New episodes sooner. Yeah, like I said, I will definitely be doing at least the first episode of the Vampire Diaries season 6 and the original season 2 this month. But being I posted a ton that one week, I mean 6-7 reactions, I got some other things I need to watch first. But if time permits, I will get to them sooner rather than later. But it really just is determined by what's on my plate. Matt's mom's the worst. Drunkard. I have no sympathy for drug addicts and drunks. It goes back to my family. So Esther might have wanted to kill her children because they upset the balance. That I can get. And she seemed like a decent mom prior to all the witchy, vampire shit. But Matt's mom has never been anything but trash. And she was trash. She'll die trash. I hate her. Predictions for season 6 of the Vampire Diaries? I don't know. I'm going into season 6 with no expectations, no concept of what's going to happen. I mean, Damon and Bonnie went into the light. They held hands and they're gone. I don't know where we go from there. I don't know I don't know if they're going to introduce like angels or God or some other spiritual being we've never seen. I don't know if they're just going to be gone from the show because I don't know who's all in the seasons coming up. Like, I don't look at that to avoid spoilers. I look at nothing. So I don't know. Is Damon gone? He might be gone. I don't know. But maybe they'll find something on the other side. Maybe they'll find nothingness. Maybe they're gone. As for the characters that made it back, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what Stefan's going to do without his brother. I don't know what Elaine is going to do without Damon. I don't. I'm going into season 6 with no expectations and no predictions, to be honest, because I'm completely blindsided with how it ended. I expected Damon to get out, and then Bonnie would have been gone. I really wouldn't care, but Damon went to the other side, to the bright light. I don't know what we're gonna do. Matt had a trash sister because he had a trash mom. All right, the sister Vicky is a product of that mother. All right, Matt did what he had to do because he had to. He was the big brother. He had to be the responsible one. Vicky just took after her mama, and that what led to all of her problems. So I hate Vicky's mom. I hate Vicky. They're both trash. Ugh, hate them both. Hate them both. Who would I like to bring back? Pearl and Annabelle. Is it Annabelle? I think Annabelle. Who was that vampire Matt? No, not Matt. Jeremy was in love with. Was it Anna? Short for Annabelle? I would love to bring her back. I loved her character. Her and Pearl. They just wanted to live their lives. They were not trying to make any plays or take anyone's power or do anything. They just wanted to live. Mother and daughter having a life. It's a damn shame what happened. I am still broken up about that. I mean, it was such a mess. They really were some of the nicest vampires we've met. They were up there with Caroline with how they take being a vampire. They were calm. They were not mass murdering. They just wanted to live. Uncle John is a son of a bitch. The only redeeming thing he had was he saved Elena's life. That's it. He's trash. Murdering them both in cold blood for no reason. That's exactly right. Oh, fuck that dude. Piss me off. Yeah, Pearl and Annabelle, man. I would bring those two back and they would get their happily ever after. Luckily, whenever the shroud was down, they got to hug and cry, and then they both vanished. Maybe they found their peace and they've moved on to the next world or something. I don't know. That was hardcore, though. That was hardcore. Damn, look at that. I'm sweating. See all that sweat around that Florida heat with no AC on, son? Damn, that's kind of gross looking. Woo. I was happy when he got his fingers cut off by Catherine. Right? Well, he was Elena's dad by biology only. All right. She had a father, and it wasn't him. All right, folks, this is the last call. Any final questions? Dude, I would love to live somewhere cold like Norway. I love the cold. I've been in Florida my whole life. You would think I'd be used to the heat, but fudge, man, it's hot. It's always hot. I would love to live in the cold. My wife, though, would never leave Florida. I was all for moving somewhere cold, but she wants to live by family, so whatever. I don't have that urge, desire, plus none of my family's really here, so. All right, folks, looks like we're getting ready to wrap this up. Thank you all for coming to this character ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was entertaining enough. And I will be doing reactions on my Patreon for season 2 of the originals and season 6 of the Vampire Diaries. Reactions will slowly make their way to YouTube, but YouTube kind of sucks. And I dread editing for YouTube for the most part because most of the time they get blocked or demonetized. Some shows more than others. The Vampire Diaries and the original seems to get hit pretty hard for some reason. All right, this will be my last question. Would you rather take a class taught by Alaric or have a therapy session with Cammy? I would rather be taught by Alaric. I love history. He could also teach me how to become a vampire slayer. Cammy, I honestly, I know too much about Cammy to want to take therapy lessons from her. She's a hot mess too. I don't need to know that much about my therapist. I would rather know nothing about my therapist's personal life. And that way she can do her job and I'll just know her as my therapist. So Alaric it is. All right. So yes, that was a great question to end on. So fantastic. And so thanks for coming and being a part of this live. And I'll catch you next time. This is Mega signing off.